Hello, today we're going to be changing the oil in a 2001 Cadillac Deville with a 32 valve Northstar. These motors are kind of scary when you look at them because they're all covered up with plastic, but we're going to show you how to change the oil in your Cadillac. So get an oil pan, get your car where you can get under it. In our case we have an oil bay. Get some rags. You're going to need some rags. You're going to need a large oil filter wrench and I believe a 13 millimeter. I'll see you under the car. Before you go under the car, go ahead and pull your dipstick and take your oil filler cap off the car, set it to the side. Okay, under the Cadillac, this is going to be your drain plug, and actually this one is a 14 millimeter. And right here in front of the pan, toward the front of the car, facing that way, is your oil filter. You're going to loosen this up, slowly take it off and let the oil drain. When the oil's done draining, you want to loosen this up and let it come off and let the oil drain out of there. Make sure your rubber gasket on your oil filter does not stay on the block. Alright, I'll get this done and turn back on. Okay, I am taking this bolt out. I got my pan under it. And I'm going to do it carefully and try not to drop it in the pan.
Once I get the accelerator.
And, ooh, and there the oil goes. Alright, let that drain, and once it drains, go to the front of the engine where I showed you your oil filter was and take your oil filter wrench. your oil filter wrench and take your oil filter off. Okay, now you've got your oil filter. We're to that stage now because we have a little bit of oil still draining out there. And sometimes if you put your hand on this oil filter and you give it a really stiff turn, it'll turn on its own, because these right here aren't supposed to be torqued down very tight. They're supposed to be basically hand tightened on there, but real good. Strong hand tight on there. And then maybe a quarter turn with the oil wrench. So I'm going to take this off. Oil will come out. So if the car's hot, don't burn yourself. Make sure the oil goes in the oil pan. And then we'll begin putting our car back together. Okay, right here's where your oil filter come off, and like I said, check around this block area right here and make sure your rubber from your other oil filter, like you see the rubber on this oil filter, make sure it didn't stay stuck on the block. Alright, and also too, when you've got this in your hand, go ahead and rub some oil around this ring. Sometimes they get dry and they bind up right there and they'll break loose. So go ahead and rub oil on it for when you tighten it up. Then put this on, get it really good and hand tight, and then a quarter turn. I got my plug back here, so once I do this, I'll meet you back on top of the car. Okay, back on top of the Cadillac, we're ready to fill our oil. Got a clean funnel put in here. Now, a 32 valve Northstar holds more than your normal V8. This one holds approximately 7.5 quarts of oil. So we're going to begin putting the oil in it and get your oil put in, and then meet me back here. Okay. I've added 6 quarts of oil to it. Now I'm going to start the car and let the oil pump go ahead and pick the oil up and get it circulated through the engine so I can get an accurate reading on the oil level. Start it. Start the car for a second. Make sure the check oil light goes off or the oil gauge goes up to its normal location. Once that's done and it's run for a few seconds, shut it off. Give it a second. Check the oil and top it off to where it's supposed to be on the oil stick. And there you have changed the oil in your 32 valve Northstar. Also keep in mind some Buicks, Oldsmobiles run the 32 valve Northstar. It's the same oil change procedure for those cars as well. Thank you.